Okay, can one of you confirm that you are able to see the screen?
It's loading.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's visible for me.
Anyone else can confirm?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, wonderful. Good. So we are going to start with a very interesting and motivational video to begin with, and then we'll start the content. And meanwhile, we'll come back and I'll show you some other videos as well. Okay. So was it audible? The sound?
Yes.
The music? Okay.
Yeah, please play.
There has never been a bigger force for change than technology. It changes absolutely everything about the way we live, the way we get around, the way we eat, even the way we talk to each other.
If you've ever said, I'll do it tomorrow,
So if I ask you to just name this video or to characterize this video or to summarize this video in one word, what would you say? In one word.
Transformation.
Absolutely. Right. So transformation, maybe evolution of technology, that is also kind of another form of transformation. So the change is constant. Right. So as you have seen that the 5 different generations, write a mail, right, send me a mail, call me, right, and all these things are happening. So things are consistently changing. So we are not getting stagnated. And I'm sure like what all things we are learning today, right, and things will become very, very obsolete, right, in next few years or days time to come. And this happens like with the kind of RPA, IA, and the AI agents. Now, I would like to give you some example because I always love to give examples than just going to the mundane slides. Now, a few years back, right, when we used to do a lot of classroom trainings and we used to maintain the attendance, how we used to maintain the attendance they used to give us a tabular sheet, etc., where we need to put a lot of tabulation work. And after that, think about it. Those sheets are kind of going to someone is kind of doing a data entry. Not before, I would say, it was still the case before COVID, around 2017, 18, 19 clear, so not far off. So people used to do a kind of data entry work, like there used to be some people who were just doing the data entry work throughout the day using their laptop or the computer. And now that Excel sheet were again further getting processed. Now, what are these things? These are complete mundane kind of work, repetitive work, which they are doing day in, day out. So now how is it happening today? So things are kind of, right, you can upload an Excel sheet, a bulk upload Excel sheet with thousands or maybe 10,000s of the data, and immediately the data is getting uploaded. You need not to enter those data. In fact, right, once you get in, you can just scan your employee ID. There's a machine, they will scan your employee ID. It will take the data from there, and it will be kind of stored in a Google form or something. And it will generate an Excel sheet, and then the training coordinator can go ahead and upload this data to a website where it can upload the data in the bulk, and it will be automatically getting processed, and you will be getting a report maybe a few days back. Now, this is just one example. Now, there can be many such examples happening these days, like especially the kind of computer hardware management system, how many data is there, etc., where they have to earlier physically enter the data, but now they are not doing it. So what is changing? So a few years back when I was working with IBM, that time there was a concept initiative started called application optimization. Now, what do you mean by application optimization? That there are a lot of tasks which we are doing does not require a brain. You have to just do it continuously, repetitively. Data entry work, how many times this is coming up, just read through the material, right? This kind of error, how many times it is coming up, etc., etc. Now, a couple of weeks back, right, we had a very good panel discussion. And I was just thinking, like, I was trying to make a note of it, but I was a moderator, so I could not take that much note. But later, what I found out is, like, how can I come up with a blog? Because people were kind of wanting to see that, okay, what actually was covered there. So you know what I did? I went to Zoom. It was a kind of it was a enterprise version of Zoom. I took the transcript from there, and it was trust me, right? Sometimes I was just reading it. I was also not able to predict or understand what it is written. The transcript was so because of our accent and many other things, right? So, but I took the transcript from section wise. I put it into the Chat GPT, and it immediately created that block for me. Of course, I added some bit of it here and there after that, but in a split second, right, it generated the right block for me. That what is the outcome of that meeting. So people are not writing anymore, right, the minutes of meetings and etc., etc. So automatically, whatever you go to Gtalk, you go to Zoom, you go to Teams, everywhere the transcript is there. You take the transcript and put it into a Chat GPT and tell me that, okay, now give me a synopsis, give me the action items coming out of it. So it can understand those action items, minutes, etc., very well, Now think about it, the kind of intelligence it is there inside, right, that agent, that it can go through, it can understand, and it will generate the report for me. In fact, it will give you a lot of option. That now if you want me to highlight or elaborate, like let's say there are 5 action items, and then it will request you that, okay, are you looking for, okay, what could be the steps to elaborate these action items? I can give it to you. So that means, like, one Steve Jobs said a very important point, right, about the customer centricity. What is that? The Steve Jobs said that customer centricity is something that you are so close to your customer, you understand the customer problem so well that even before they understand they have a problem, you provide them the solution. Now, few months back, like we went to abroad, and fortunately, like, my company gave me an iPhone. So I was using that iPhone. Like, I don't use that generally, but my kids were kind of using it for taking some photo and other things. So one day, and we were not conversant with all the pictures and all the features of it. Naturally, like, we were never using it. But later, like in one morning, right, my wife and I was chatting and having tea, and that time she said, now see, the iPhone has created a video for you with the last 3 days, like what all places we have visited, what are the selected pictures, the best pictures from there, and it had created a video. So I knew that, like, in my place, like, we celebrate Durga Puja and we try to create the video, right, with the best picture, and it takes a lot of time. Because we keep taking a lot of pictures, etc., and then selecting them, editing them. It takes a lot of time, right? And then creating a video again with some software, it takes a lot of time. But it just created in a flash of a second. For every day that we spent, every day we took the photo. At the end of the day, it was creating a video for us. So reel making, anything and everything right now, these are becoming, right now, do you think about it, like how much time you used to take, or I used to take to prepare those kind of videos, or it is creating in a flash of a second. So basically, things are changing. Now, people should not be thinking about my job is going to go away. Think in a very positive note that now when RPA, BPA, like robotic process automation or business process automation, everything came, right, maybe around 8 to 10 years back. That time also people started crying, what will happen to our job? But are they dying today? No, they are finding some other way. Maybe they are writing those codes. Now, earlier, like if I come back to the software industry, earlier we used to write a lot of test cases, unit test cases. Now, can you just tell me even a single project like where the unit test case are written in a Word document or in an Excel sheet? Never. What are we doing? We are doing a test-driven development or test-first development, which is again a kind of little bit of automation. Now, acceptance test criteria, if you go for it, now there are tools, like there are agents like called, I'm just forgetting the language, Gherkin. So Gherkin can convert your acceptance criteria, right, from a bulleted list to a given when-then format. And why it is writing it in a given when-then format? So that it can be accepted by one of the tool called Cucumber, and it can generate the unit test for you. Acceptance test for you. And that is the reason we call it as a behavior-driven development or acceptance test-driven development. So the point is, it is changing very fast. And that is the reason today we are here to learn about, right? Automation is just one part of it, because AI is not only about automation. Automation is just one part of it. AI is bringing a lot of other things, analysis, prediction, probabilistic things. Automation is just one part of it, where AI is mixing. Again, AI, automation is not something, it's AI's baby child. No. Automation had been there, but now whenever the automation is marrying with AI, it is giving you the very interesting thing called AI agent. And that is something what we are going to learn. Now, in between, they were trying something, which is an interim part, which is called intelligent automation. And even with the IoT, I'm sure all of you know about IoT, Internet of Things. When I still remember, around 2014-15 time, right? There was in one of the campus interview I went, and that time I heard for the first time I3, instrumented, interconnected, and intelligent. Now, all these things, whenever these things are there, that was the backbone of IoT: instrumented, interconnected, and intelligent. So whenever all your devices in your house are kind of interconnected, instrumented, and intelligent, So that means you can do anything and everything. So you need not to monitor anything, right, to be in the home. You can do it, you can operate them from outside because everything is instrumented, interconnected, networked, right, so that you can operate them from there. Like how is, let's say you are now in forget about in India, in Dubai and other things. Like I still remember two of my friends, I went for a best of IBM around 2017, right? Two of my best friend came to my place and showed me, see that my daughter is doing this, my child is doing this. And how are you seeing it from here? Then she said, no, these are all interconnected. My CCTV is kind of connected to the network. So now from that Wi-Fi, I can see it. I have the device here and I can see it. I can take a look into it. Because it is not possible for me. It's such a costly country. It is not possible for me to keep a right caregiver for them. I better look after them right from the office itself. And whenever something goes on, right, something mishap happens or something, right, I come back immediately to home. So this is how things are changing. So today what we are going to learn is, like, we learn about a little bit of RPA, we learn about intelligent automation, we learn about AI agent. And of course, like, the applicability of these things are definitely different. So we will try to learn that what are the test cases or what are the use cases where you can still go ahead, though RPA is kind of getting outdated these days, but still there are some situations where you can go for RPA. Because intelligent automation, AI agent, is a little costly also, right? You may not need to go ahead. You may not need to afford that unless it is very much required. So where you can go ahead and use the RPA, where you can go ahead and use the intelligent automation or AI agent, that is something we need to learn. Now, again, whenever we talk about AI agent, these are all positive things, but there are maybe some negative areas as well where the AI agents are failing. So we would love to hear from those areas where it is becoming successful. Of course, we cannot cover all the use cases, but we'll try to learn about some of the use cases where it is failing and where it is becoming successful. So first, what is robotic process automation? So as I was telling, it's a predefined set of rules. Things are not changing. So whenever there is a change in pattern, that RPA will not work. RPA is a very mundane kind of stuff. RPA will only do whatever is instructed to them, right? Or the way the code is written, RPA will process that. Does that mean RPA or is it actually a robot? No, it's not a robot. But yeah, so since it is doing it in an automated way, we are thinking it's a kind of robot. So RPA involves the rule-based automation of the repetitive structured task using software bots. Correct? Now, it will not have its intelligence. It will just blindly follow the instruction it was fed into it. So follows predefined rule, works on a structured data, because again, as I said, it does not have the capability of NLP or optical code recognition. So if you give them a picture and tell them to compare and tell them to predict from this way, it will not be able to do that. It does not have that intelligence. So mimics user action, like click, form filling, like the way I was telling, copy and pasting. So if there are some situations wherein to copy paste, right, from one file to another file, one file to another file, especially it is very important for the accounting jobs. So you know that earlier there used to be a tool called Tally, where what people used to do, take the input from there and put it in an Excel sheet. They take the data. Now, these are also going away. People can easily scan through the entire sheet, right, and put it there, and immediately there will be a software which will be processing all the data. Now, you might have seen that also, that few years back, at least 10 years back, we used to submit the IT return manually. After that, what happened? We used to submit the IT return with an Excel sheet. Right? There was an Excel agent, and after that, it was processing internally. It was processing the syntax, and then it used to be submitted. But how today we are using it? We are using a software. In fact, a lot of data are pre-filled, right, based on your declaration, based on the tax deducted, right, based on, because everything is now connected using your PAN number. So now you just need to make some customization. It will also give you all the calculations done if you are connecting everything through your same PAN. Correct? So only additional thing, right, which you are not probably accounting, right, in a proper way, those things you need to enter and make the necessary correction, or anything that you need to remove from there. So does not make the decision, just execute the same. So come a couple of examples like data entry from Excel to ERP system. Invoice processing, very important. Now these days, nobody is coming up with a right invoice in that. So it is a kind of pre-formatted. So I would like to go to Asim also, like to hear more from you on the prescription. I'm sure like you are generating one of the software which is kind of using similar kind of process. So I would like to hear from you at the end of the session. So employee onboarding workflow, that is another very interesting thing. What all things you need to do, correct? So those things are also happening using the bot. Now I would like to again give you a story. Swati might be knowing it. Like I went to Chubb around 2017. I went to US for one of the account. Like Swati was also a kind of project manager. So that time when before I went US multiple times, but after a long gap when I again visited US in the JFK, right, there was manual immigration check what was happening, right? Everything was manual. In 6 months of time, again I visited for the same account, but that time I was kind of surprised. I could see only some of the kiosks are there. There was no manual intervention. I need to just go there, put my boarding pass on. It was accessing everything. All that we had to do manually, filling up some details, etc., etc. Those are only there was one manual intervention. That is the final immigration check with the government employee, where he was asking some questions. In fact, I was also surprised. In just 6 months of time, how can this be possible? Now, this is how right things are kind of changing very quickly. Now, code analysis based on certain syntax. Sometimes, like I'm not sure how many of you are from the software background, but static code analyzer, where you can strictly define, it cannot. Now, static code analyzer is another great example of the robotic process automation, because it will not do the logical check. It will not do the syntactical check. It may be only doing about some of the grammatical check, which you are feeding information. Okay, whether this is there, whether this is there, whether this is there or not. In fact, you can define there what can be considered as a warning or what can be considered as an error, right, in the static code analyzer. So it can give you the report, and after that you can take some action, because this is helping you to improve the quality of your code in terms of the trivial problems, trivial issues. Correct? So that is the good thing. That is what we are talking about, the code analysis. Now these days, there are a lot of code reviews are also not done manually, because these are again mundane tasks. So you can include those code review, but still I would say code review is still important, because it requires a little bit of logical check, which the business logic cannot be interpreted. So there you can bring in the AI agent, which can do. So I don't know how many of you have seen or learned about that announcement, which Mark Zuckerberg talked about, that by 2025 or 2030, I forgot, but he said, I want no developer to do my code in Meta. Everything will be done by AI. Now, whether he will be allowed to do that or not, because there will be a huge headcount reduction in that format. Already it has started. But he said very clearly that all my code generation will be done through AI. Now, this is alarming, of course. But that does not mean that our job will go away. Of course, whenever there is a job, some of the jobs are going away. As you have seen in the video, there are some new jobs coming up, which you do not know. So tasks are highly repetitive. So use RPA when tasks are highly repetitive, rule-based and stable. You deal with the structured data, like as I said, like CSV, database, ERP system, Excel. You want to automate without major IT changes. So not much of logical change, etc. Whenever, and there are plenty of jobs, trust me. Around 60 to 70% of the tasks that we do, are manual, mundane, monotonous kind of work. Because there are only very few portion of the work that we do in the IT industry which are purely scratch development, where you require a brain, especially like in those who are working in mainframe systems. Correct? So there is a concept of bad job. And when the bad job fails, you have to intervene. So that scanning now these days is done by the AI agent also. That's a huge amount of code. How can you scan them? And then you can run those bad jobs not manually. I still remember in 2004 when I was in Cognizant, that time, for a short span of time, I was working in mainframe. And then I moved to IBM. So during that point in time, I was given the responsibility to run those bad jobs. What is there in the bad job? there is a strict instruction given around 20 instruction. You have to do one by one, take the outcome of one job, and then that will be an input to the next job with some modification that is also instructed very clearly. You need to make those changes. Again, you run the next step, and this is how it is going on. So examples: payroll processing, invoice reconciliation, updating the CRM record. Now these are the robotic process automation. So enough of talking. Now let's watch another video. Let me just check the sound once again. Yeah, it is still there.
Process automation technology has been helping companies to speed up their work, make processes more efficient, and allow workers to focus on higher value work. The bots have been used for a variety of tasks, including data collection, data analysis, and tracking employee availability. Let's have a look on top 5 industry applications of RPA. The retail industry involves lots of processes that are prime for automation with RPA. In e-commerce, for example, companies can use RPA to manage constantly changing orders, shipping statuses, and updating customers when their items have been processed all the way through to expected delivery. In addition, RPA can be used to great effect in retail measurement. In spite of recent digital innovations, the banking sector is still known for its lengthy processes around information input and exchange. This makes banking ideal territory for RPA implementation. In client-facing banking, RPA can be used to confirm appointments with customers, pull up their information from CRM systems, and, using machine learning algorithms, suggest which financial products are most likely to be of interest to them. It can also be revolutionary in processes such as loan applications and approval, drastically cutting the time it takes for clients to receive a decision on their request. Lengthy, multi-step claims processes and document-heavy workflows make the insurance industry a prime use case for RPA. Whether it is issuing policies or renewals, underwriting, claims processing, or even just managing end-of-month reports, a host of information from different sources must be compiled and sorted for the majority of operations in this industry. With the help of a robot-powered automation tool, organizations can reduce bill of materials errors, refine inventory management, and take advantage of automation to connect legacy systems. All back-end tasks that are time-consuming but are one of the main drivers of profitability, like customer support and administration, can be efficiently managed while keeping the labor hours and cost low. By using RPA, adapting and modifying the manufacturing operations as and when the industry regulations, compliance measures and standards change is much easier and smooth, minus errors. RPA in healthcare can help automate several complex and time-consuming tasks for payers, hospitals and health systems, and long-term care facilities while scaling down the required resources. These tasks can be in the areas of financial transactions, claims administration, claims denial management, and pre-service business processes. Managing a health plan can get expensive due to administrative functions like claims adjudication, authorizations, and coordination of provider services. RPA platforms can automate these processes and help you bring down costs and improve provider-member interactions. Thanks for watching. Please like and share the video. And do subscribe to our channel to get more such videos.
Right. So as we have seen, there are some interesting examples from these. Now we would like to go to next, the intelligent automation. But before that, I would like to ask a very trivial question to all of you. Just let me check if anyone is waiting in the waiting room. Sometimes there may be. Okay, no worries. So I have a very fundamental question for you. I'm sure all of you know about Tesla. Now, what is your opinion? Is Tesla a car company or is Tesla a software company? What is your opinion? Can anyone tell me? What is Tesla primarily doing? Are they car manufacturers or they are a software company?
I think Tesla is primarily a car company, right? It is, I mean, it's known for their EV vehicles or electric cars, right?
Right. So EV vehicle, and they are now moving into the autonomous vehicle. That is their dream. Okay. Now, I would like to give a story which I've recently heard. I recently finished one of the conferences in my company, right, where our president was giving that example. Of course, I cannot give the example of Tesla. Like he said that I don't own a Tesla, but I have heard this example from one of my friend who is based out of US, and that is the story of 5 years back. Now, before I go there, before I give that example, I'm sure all of you know about these kind of stories that Honda, right, and Toyota, right, these are greatly known for their manufacturing processes and the quality processes. Japanese are very good for their quality processes. And whenever there is any issue with those cars, right, Toyota had done that multiple times. Honda also had done that multiple times. So they bring back all the cars that was sold for that particular model. They do that they correct that manufacturing defect and again send it back without any cost. It's a completely free of cost, right? So that is typically Honda, Toyota, they are doing all the time. So the story which I'm going to tell you, right, that was happening with, right, one of the friend of our president. He said, right, he got a Tesla and it was working pretty well. I'll talk about the software part little later, but it was pretty well. But he noticed after a couple of days, he noticed one observation that whenever there's a bump in the road, sometimes it was not able to judge that, and it was always giving some, right, jerking, or right, sometimes it is hitting, right, the lower portion of the car. So he immediately reported, of course, it's a very costly car, so he immediately reported that problem. And he was expecting, right, the car will be taken back, right, and it will be kind of corrected, right. He needs to send it to the kind of workshop, and it will be getting corrected, and then he'll bring it back. I mean, he'll get it back. So, and after that, like, he was just waiting. He did not use that car. He was using the other car, and he did not receive any response from there. I mean, from Tesla. So he again called that service desk. He said, "Your problem is fixed, sir, already." So he was kind of surprised. He said, "How come it is fixed?" It is fixed on that day itself. Then it says, "So I did not get any notification." I would say, "No, we generally don't give the notification. We fix it from the back end." So how come you fix it from the back end? Then they said, all the equipments are software driven, right, in that car. And as soon as he reported the problem to the Tesla workshop, they scanned the entire car, and they found that there is a defect, right, in one of the software. So they immediately applied the patch remotely without letting anyone know the patch is applied, and the problem was solved. So he took that car and he went into a kind of the same road where he was facing the problem, and he did not face the problem again. So the point which you're trying to say is that Tesla is a car company, of course, but it is fully run on the software and a lot of intelligent software, to be precise. So if you go to if you get into or onboard into a Tesla car, you will have a different experience altogether. It is full of everything that you press, or everything is controlled by software. So that's the reason we wanted to bring in that point. So they are using AI heavily, right? In all the things that they do, they are using Tesla. Now think the difference between, right, the way Toyota operates and the way Tesla operates. Okay. Now coming back to our discussion point, that intelligent automation, what is that? So now, as we have learned, that RPA was always working on a structured data. Now, not everything can be a structured data these days. Like Digiyatra, you sentiment analysis, feedback, facial expression, and many other things which cannot be always structured. So there you need to bring in a little bit of capability of the AI ML. Correct? So whenever the RPA is kind of marrying with the AI and ML capability to a certain extent, without the analytical capability, without the reasoning capability, right, then we call it as an intelligent automation. So allowing bots to handle unstructured data, make the basic decision, and adapting over time. So what all key abilities they are having apart from the conventional robotic process automation? It uses the vision, like we have learned about computer vision. So it uses that vision. It uses the NLP, that is natural language processing, right? Why is it? How is it doing it? Right? We'll talk about it. And then the OCR. OCR means optical code recognition. So whenever you are going ahead with scanning the data or scanning the information, right, it is using those things for the, and then the sentiment analysis, like, excuse me, based on the different data, based on the, Swati, if you remember, like in IBM days, whenever we were applying Agile, so that time we used to do something called mood marbles. I don't know whether you can recollect. So to understand what is the pulse of the team on that day, because those were good Agile practices. But now,
Oh, I do remember, Shubho.
yes,
Definitely do remember of your
right,
workshop.
right. So mood marbles. So now these days we are not using any more mood marbles. We are doing a lot of we are doing a lot of maturity assessment, etc. And from those answers, it can understand that whether you are frustrated or you are right doing it in the, you have a good understand. So now maturity assessment is taking a backseat, rather sentiment analysis is coming up, right? So, and it's like, I'm sure like all of us, like those who are veteran, like Dola, me, Swati, Asim, like those who have been working in the system for quite some time, when we got into the software industry, we did some psychometry tests, if you recollect, in our earlier days. Now, what are those psychometry tests? It's like a sentiment analysis. It can try to understand your nature, your attitude, your psychological, right, understanding, etc. So uses machine learning to improve over time, can work with unstructured and semi-structured data, automate more complex workflow end to end, because RPA was very much instruction driven, rule based, but it was not having its own intelligence to do that. But here it's a little bit of difference where we are right, when we need to bring, and that's the reason we are calling it as an intelligent. So examples: reading and interpreting the email content. Now earlier, right, it was not able to understand the mood of the email, whether the email was written with a good mood. So now it can understand that also, and it can respond back. Now these days, some of the trivial emails it can respond. Whenever it is not able to understand, it keeps it. But there are certain situations, right, where you need to just respond back. So those things can be done with an intelligent automation. Now these days, I'm sure you know that whenever you're opening a ticket, you immediately get an email. Now that's a robotic process automation. No one does it, right? It is done by the system, right? We typically try to bypass that word called RPA by saying that it is done by the system. Extracting the data from the scanned document using the OCR, chatbots for customer services using NLP. Now that everyone knows. Now these days, right, earlier we used to do a kind of customer service, right, SBI card, ICICI card, anything. Now for that, always it is going into your chatbot first. But if you are not able to understand, if the chatbot is here driven by some specific set of questions, it's not exactly an RPA. It has some intelligence, but with certain things, right? It's a cognitive approach, but it has certain limitation, which will be kind of, right, overcome by the AI agent. We'll talk about that. So there, right, it is serving those things using the NLP, right? So moving on. So using intelligent automation when tasks involve document, email, images, or text, you need the cognitive capability, exactly what I was saying, right? The NLP, OCR, right? Machine learning to understand, right? And then take the action accordingly. Some decision making is required, but that was my point. So it makes some decision, but with some limitation. And that limitation is going to go away whenever we are trying to bring in that AI agent. So reading the email complaints and routing them. So you can understand the email, okay, what it is talking about, and it can send it to the appropriate authority, whether it needs for an ultimate escalation or whether it can be resolved. So those things can be done, right, using that intelligent automation. Extracting text from the scanned invoices and classifying the support tickets, right? So those who have experience of working in an operation on maintenance, there are two types of SLA. What is SLA? Service level agreement. And typically for any operational or maintenance kind of industry, we have got two types of SLA. One is called response time SLA, another one is called resolution time SLA. Now, response time SLA is something like how much time it takes. What is your agreement that, okay, after receiving that complaint, you need to reply back within, let's say, 30 minutes. That's the response time SLA. And after that, it does its categorization. That's exactly the point I'm telling. Classify, whether it's a priority 1 or a priority 2 or a priority 3 or a priority 4, just by reading and understanding the ticket. it can do the prioritization. And after that, we need to follow that resolution time SLA, where if it is a save one kind of ticket, it should be fixed within 6 hours. If it is a save two kind of ticket, it can be fixed within 5 days, right? Could be 1 month, could be 4 months, 3 months, right? Depending on what kind of ticket it is. Correct? So all these things can be done using that intelligence. Now, this intelligence is fed into the system, right, of the RPA. So now from the RPA stage, we have put in some level of intelligence, and now we are into the kind of intelligent automation. So before we go into our last part, and then there are a lot of application which we'll talk about, right? So let us go into our third video.
What is intelligent automation? Simplicity is complexity resolved. Intelligent automation stands as a newfound way for you to streamline and optimize processes at different levels of your business through automation and cognitive capabilities. It is a three-way framework of technologies that bring high mobility and unison across teams. They are robotic process automation, business process automation, and artificial intelligence. Robotic process automation allows you to emulate the way people perform back-end, high-volume processes, all through a set of defined instructions. These rules help the bot perform repetitive and time-consuming functions on its own. A few examples would be creating accounts, modifying customer information, automating customer refunds, processing feedback and complaints. What's more interesting is that you can teach your task-based RPA system to correct or adapt its course based on its performance and dynamic conditions in the shortest times possible. This is truly what businesses such as yours can benefit from: accelerated efficiencies. Business process automation, on the other hand, looks at a much larger picture. Imagine a company with process gaps across departments impeding it from performing to its full potential. There is a discord between worker onboarding, invoicing, supply chain, and retail. All of these departments are standalone but highly impacted by the way others function. BPA works at filling those process silos to form a coherent and sustainable business network. RPA and BPA form the backbone of automation, but they are not cognitive, but artificial intelligence is. It is the third component of what really makes automation intelligent and perceptive. With the help of machine learning and neural networks, AI decodes patterns and draws meaningful conclusions out of unstructured data. It is self-improving and requires minimal human support. With continuous training and deductive reasoning, it is able to evolve to become more human after each application. For example, with the help of sentiment analysis, natural language processing and understanding, conversational AI is able to pick on the intent, tone, emotion, and even urgency to enable human-like customer support conversations. Intelligent automation can be applied across industries to make collaboration easy. In retail, you can use it to bring manufacturing and sales together. You can intelligently manage purchases to ensure adequate inventory, automate returns and send timely refunds, communicate with users clearly, and even navigate their demands through predictive analytics. In a data-sensitive industry such as healthcare, intelligent automation can assist with keeping a safe record of patient data, assisting cross-departmental transfers, and scheduling consultations and follow-ups all autonomously. Another industry in which data protection is paramount in financial services. Most day-to-day banking functions like answering FAQs, customer onboarding, account management, and loan processing can be easily and smartly automated. Intelligent tools can also map risky user behavior to detect fraud before it occurs. But how does a business benefit from using intelligent automation? The possibilities with intelligent automation are limitless. Time and efficiency are central to thriving companies today. With the right approach to automation, businesses can yield more ROI and higher economies of scale. It can lower your operational costs, reduce human error, ensure more data accuracy, lead to employee satisfaction, happier customers, and increase your adaptability to market shifts. Conversational AI harnesses the power of intelligent automation and NLP to thread natural, meaningful conversations with users. At a leading conversational AI solutions provider like Verloop.io, we ensure you are on the same page as your users. Let's digitally transform your venture today so you stay a step ahead and never behind.
So now you understood a little bit of difference, right, between the RPA in the first video, right, and then the intelligent automation. Now where we are, in a very important juncture, very exciting juncture of the AI agent, because AI agent is the next, correct? And it is like after all these AI things, and after that, in any organizations you go, so everything and anything, right, anything and everything that they are doing, they're just creating that AI agent to solve the problem. And it does not have any boundary, right? You can apply that in anywhere, everywhere. The only thing which I would like to talk about on the limitation of the AI agent is still clients are a little skeptical, and they are thinking about their data privacy and the security part. So AI agents are goal-driven, autonomous system that can plan, reason, and act independently across the complex environment, like Siri, Alexa. All those things are right now AI agents, and or maybe on the background that some AI agents are working on it. Now, Alexa is so powerful now these days. If you tell them to wipe the floor, if it finds out, like he does have a kind of mapping, but if you put a kind of obstacle in his path, it will just bypass it and go ahead, and it will stop there. It's not going to earlier it might be going and colliding with that, but now this is not going to do that. So there are a lot of advancement made on the kind of Alexa these days, apart from just following your instruction. It can think, it can take action, it can analyze, and then it can process using the computer vision, NLP, and many other things. So what are the key characteristics? Now it can use the large language models. So far it was not there in the intelligent automation. So now it is using the large language model, reinforcement learning. So that means it is continuously learning from the actual system. It is not always a pre-fed information. It is using the cognitive part very well, that it can understand, okay, this time I failed, that means it was not correct. So next time I have to take a correct action. Once it is kind of given a thumbs up that yes, it is the correct action that you are going to take, it will remember that, and next time it will not make the same mistake again. And multimodal AI can handle open-ended tasks with a minimal supervision. You do not to follow up with that. Has memory, can reason and interact with tools across APIs, operates with the feedback loop, learns and self-correct, the point which I just made. Example, AI personal assistant scheduling meetings, replying to email and booking travel. Now, those who are continuously booking, continuously traveling, for them, it is not possible for them, to go ahead and book the tickets all the time. So they have probably installed some of the AI agent, and it has set the rule, and it will be automatically searching all these things that you do, It will do all these stuff for you and get the booking done. Correct? So AI agents in supply chain optimizing the logistics automatically. You have seen that, correct? The use of drone, in whether it is Amazon, whether it is a Flipkart, whether it is, in fact, couple of years back, Flipkart, whoever it is, I forgot, some CXO level guy came to our office, and there was a fireside chat, and he was showing us literally with a video that what all things are being done. There is no human, in their Flipkart warehouse. Everything is kind of automated. Everything is kind of managed by the robots and the drones, So exactly what you have seen in the video, they have shown us the video of the live video. Autonomous coding agent writing and debugging that code. Now, you know that very well, that GitHub Copilot, if you install it, it will do the things for you. Now, still it is not tested properly that whether really it is improving the productivity. In our organizations, we are using GitHub Copilot extensively. And it is a target given to all the project manager to get this much of license and use it and show us the productivity, So without even knowing whether it can improve, that our processes, but still it is showing that, okay, show us the productivity, because everyone is number driven. And then we are taking these data and showing it to our right? Clients, when the clients are visiting us and we are showing them, because in one of the client visit, we got the feedback. If you're so confident with your AI agent, why don't you go ahead and apply that in your own organization, in your IP product, intellectual property product, and then show us the real result. How is it improving? Because otherwise it will just be a kind of commitment, but no execution. So we are doing it, and we are now showing them the live data that how it is improving the productivity of the team members. So use AI agent whenever tasks require multi-step reasoning, planning, and memory, especially when the coding, etc., is done. Interactions are open-ended, cross multiple tools and the systems, right? So now it is not only restricted to a single system, it can talk to the upstream, downstream application and take the decision accordingly. The system needs to adapt, learn from the outcome, and collaborate with the user. That is the best part. So it is not a static learning. Now it is a dynamic learning, right? There is no barriers. Correct? So it is learning from, because it is not possible, because as you all know, that AI is only successful when the right data is fed into it. So and you cannot feed all the data right in the very beginning. So it should fail, learn from the mistakes, and go ahead. So an autonomous assistant playing travel across website, apps, calendar, already I talked about. A coding agent, that's a very important one. I just talked about that. GitHub Copilot. A sales agent qualifying leads, right? Sending emails and the scheduling follow-ups. Now these days, like in last panel discussion, we know that we had one of my friend. He was from the that pharma industry, right, on the sales and marketing. So, and I asked him a question that how are these new unexplored areas are targeted? So they have these, they do these things right now with AI. That what are the area, where are the new, I mean, in fact, they do that much of analysis also, where the new doctors are, every year the new doctors are passing out. Where are they placed now? In which area? Because in government, there is a policy that you have to go into some local health center. So how many new local health centers are, right, being kind of created? Where, which doctor is kind of sitting where? Whether they have a huge database of the doctors, whether these doctors are, right, already approached or not. So all these things they have, and these days they are going into, right, a remote area like Sundarban and in many other places, where people like mostly relying on a kind of quack doctors and something, right? Not certified doctors. But now these days, like we are having the certified registered doctors over there also, and people are reaching out to them. So they are tapping those unexplored area, right, to bring value to the customers. So coming back, we are almost coming to the end of it. Now, these are some of the examples. Already we have covered few. So where it is successful, the customer support and the virtual assistant, right? Examples, ChatGPT powered agent on the website and the service devs. Because so here, like in Google was also doing the kind of, right, in the background, they are doing AI. In fact, you must be seeing these days, if you do a Google search, it will ask you whether you want an AI driven or a normal search. And of course, people will go for a kind of Google, then it will be reaching out to the Gemini to get the data, right? So this is now becoming so transparent these days. Software development agent, already spoke about that. GitHub Copilot workspace, Cognosys Sweep Dev. Now, people were having some skepticism around the confidentiality and the security privacy of your code, but now these days you have to procure a license of the Copilot, not a generic one, but a procure a license, so that it will be relying within your organization firewall. The data is not going to go outside. That level of security privacy, they're going to do it. Now, whenever it will be applied for a customer, again, we need to do some little bit of investment over there so that we can bring in that level of security within your customer and your organization firewall. Because if it is within your organization is a superset, but within that, you need to create some small subset that these are the client specific data. It should not be, right, made public even within your organization. So if you're working in one project, your GitHub Copilot should not be accessed by any other project in that same organization. Not possible. Correct? So those are the, right, some of the things. The knowledge work automation that we all know, right? Multi-agent systems like QI and ChatGPT, healthcare support. Now, this is one of the area where we have seen a significant progress. Now, I was giving this example, I think, multiple times, that whenever we are going ahead with a trivial problem like X-ray analysis, now these days, the number of diagnostic centers also increased astronomically, and number of tests are also happening astronomically, especially post-COVID. So pre-diagnosis assistant taking symptom and matching against the pattern. So they have got certain patterns. And trust me, like whenever you are doing X-ray, 95% of the people are having a normal pattern. They are just doing it just for the sake of doing it. Like it's a business. So in that case, you may not need a radiologist to do that. So it will be kind of giving you the report by the AI agent. But whenever it is finding some pattern which is not coming to their periphery, it will be kind of raising a flag, and then those reports will be kind of sent to the next level of doctors or some radiologists, etc. So this is how things are happening. Finally, there are some failure area, that lack of real-time context, like security, ethical risk, failure to collaborate, and the humans, right? So collaborate with the human. Now, this is the third point I would like to say. I think I gave this example multiple times, that whenever you are calling a customer support help desk for a credit card, whenever you are reporting a normal problem that your card is stolen, or you want to know the balance inquiry, when is the last date, etc., those things are fine. But when your query is customized, that time the problem comes in. They will not be able to understand, and they will clearly say, I don't understand, what are you saying? Right? So then the problem comes into picture. So where AI agents are still not good enough or maybe powerful enough to understand your custom questions and give the right answer. Rather, it will just, maybe now these days I've seen that it is happening. In that case, can I connect you to the customer support agent or something like that? So those queries can be routed to the customer support help center. So that's pretty much the content that I wanted to cover. I have a very interesting video to show you to end with, but rest of the slides are kind of summary, right? What all things we discussed. So what are the area where AI agents succeed? What are the area where AI agents fail, right? It's a kind of quick summary, right? And then where is this shift happening, right? For the 5 years ago, RPA was the king. 3 years ago, intelligent automation emerged, and today AI agents are taking up. Now, why I'm showing these things? Now, the transformation, just think about the transformation, how fast it is happening. Like 5 years back, there was RPA. Now 3 years, and today, right, AI agents, you never know what is going to come tomorrow. So whatever you study today, it may so happen by the time you go and get into the industry, anything and everything can change, and you might need to learn something new, right? So that is why things are kind of changing. Now, this is the kind of criteria when you need to choose the RPA, when you need to choose the IA, and when you need to choose the AI agent. Like most of the things we have covered, but this is just a kind of quick summary, right? And a quick comparison. So whenever you need to deploy something in a quick time, right, then you can go ahead with an RPA. That's the easy one because it does not require that AI. But whenever you need a kind of AI in between, then medium, right, it needs some time. But AI agents will take a long time, but with some piloting, because the only difference between IA and AI agent is why it is taking so much of time, because of the data. Because unless and until you are feeding a lot of data, real-time data, it's not going to work, right? Scalability cost. Now, still, if your budget is very low, you can go ahead with RPA, because still AI is having a lot of data and lot of infrastructure support, which can make it more complex and more expensive. Now, skill set, RPA, it requires a very basic skill. IA, little bit of ML, NLP, but you need not be a kind of artificial intelligence champ to do that. But for doing the AI agents, you really need to do a lot of analysis. You need to bring in a lot of data engineer, data mining engineer, data analysis, and of course the AI professional. Right, so these are the things, and change management need. Now, RPA, as I told you, it follows a strict instruction, not changing very much. IA, moderate, but AI agent, right, hugely changing almost every day. So the maintenance cost, right, of the AI agent is becoming astronomical. That is why people are still skeptical, because today it may be working fine. You never know. Unless and until you are feeding them the right data, and data is continuously changing, you need to keep on feeding the data to that. And then only, right, it will become more effective, right? So, and finally, the last very basic and a funny picture, that initially the RPA was the lion, right? And it was a snake. And then it took its tail, right? Let's automate together intelligent automation. Let's add some AI agent, right? Agent builder. So AI agent came into picture, but now it is becoming AI agent is the new automation, right? So things have completely changed, right? There is no sign of elephant now these days. It is completely AI agent which is taking over. Thank you so much. Just wait for 5 more minutes and I'm going to show you a very interesting video to wind up. And then if anyone has any question or want to share, right, I'll be happy to take it up.
Once upon a time, business as usual was often good enough. No more. Where we are going, good enough is dead. In a world where everything is connected, where everything is equally excellent, where performance is reaching perfection, there's only one space left to innovate in: you. Right now, you are a central point in the raging tornado of change fueled by digitization, mobilization, augmentation, disintermediation, automation. Well, the list goes on. Science fiction is becoming science fact. Think about self-driving cars or computers that can learn and think. The way we work will never be the same. The skills we need will be dramatically different. Winning or losing are now happening faster than ever before. So what's your response? How will you discover new opportunities in one of the most transformational times in human history? Are you driving change or are you being driven by it? Disruption has become the new normal. With change, it's always gradually, then suddenly, well, things really have stopped happening gradually. This change is exponential. Everything that used to be dumb and disconnected is now wired and intelligent. Cars, cities, ports, farms, even our bodies will be wired with sensors and will talk to each other. These game changers are also combinatorial. They amplify each other, creating a perfect storm of change. Quantum computing fuels big data. The Internet of Things fuels artificial intelligence and deep learning, which fuels robotics. However, anything that cannot be digitized or automated will become extremely valuable. Human-only traits such as creativity, imagination, intuition, emotion, and ethics will be even more important in the future, because machines are very good at simulating, but not at being. Yes, robots and software will do some of our work, but this will allow us to focus on things that cannot be automated. To imagine change squared, you've got to start engaging more with what might be, not just with what is. Immerse yourself in the immediate future, 5 to 7 years out from today. We need to go beyond technology and data to reach human insights and wisdom. Technology represents the how of change, but humans represent the why. The future is about holistic business model. The opportunity is to be liquid, to learn just in time, not just in case, not single improvements, but complete transformations, not individual systems, but new ecosystems. Humanity is where true and lasting value is created. We will engage, relate, and buy things because of the experiences they provide, because of their transformative power. The future doesn't just happen. The future gets happened. The new way to work is to embrace technology, but not to become it. The future is in technology, yet the bigger future lies in transcending it. Let's live and lead from here.
Thank you for listening and thank you for viewing. I would like to just open up the floor and request first Saurav, if you're still there, would you like to just share any insight from your area, because you have been there in the industry for quite some time? how are you using automation? Because I'm sure in your area also things are changing very fast, and you are taking the help. You are not doing anything manually these days. Maybe RPA, process automation, AI agent, or intelligent automation you are trying to bring in. Would you like to just share some of your idea from there?
Sure, Gautam. Just understand that I am working in the field of industrial automation. And in industrial automation, we always think about the machine automation or process automation.
Right.
But thing is not like that what we are actually thinking, because it is starting from the selection of the product also.
Correct.
It is designing point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier design, just giving us a small example. Earlier days when we are getting the data of the customer requirement, and then we have to analyze, we have to design it using some formulas and this thing. Then we understand that what is there. I mean, say as it is a industrial equipment, so we understand the torque, what the exact application is, and how all the physics is involvement. Based on that, we have to select or funnel it out the exact requirement or demand of the some machine parameters, and then we have to select the right product, and we have to then analyze whether this product is really work in that environment or not. So
Right.
in those cases, it took me about 7 to 10 days time, and now it is just the entry of the data.
Correct.
And after that, we just click, and within maybe in 15 minutes or half an hour of time, we
Right.
get the exact set of the products we may use. Now it is our involvement that what is the degree of freedoms we should choose, and based on that, we select the product.
Absolutely.
So this is the one part where we are massively using this thing, and back in definitely earlier days, it was a selection table like Excels and these things. What you are saying correctly. So RPA now it is a RPA as well as the data analysis. Everything is involved. So it is a some part of artificial intelligence also involved from backend. And we are in at the front end user. We are just enjoying this thing and minimizing the time.
Thank you, Saurabh. Yeah, we will love to hear from you, right, sometime. So anyone has any question, comments, right? Otherwise, probably we can wind up. And Asim is doing, I know, like you are doing a lot of things. Maybe we'd like to have a right conversation sometimes, right? Because we're already over time, but we would like to definitely hear from you. Any parting thought from your end?
Sure, Subrat. Maybe already we have crossed 20 minutes. So before starting the webinar next week, we'll definitely discuss few of the things where I can have some example how it is getting used in healthcare industry in different areas. So
Definitely.
also have real-time example also. We can do that probably next week for first 10 minutes.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you. We'll again have a very interactive sessions coming up, right, with some industry experts. Right, just stay tuned. Thank you, Rajanna. Thank you, Dola, for joining.
Thank you.